Hey everyone, welcome back to my podcast talking about everything psychology. I'm your host, Lester Gonzalez, and as a psychology enthusiast, you will learn more about self-improvement, personal growth, success, and how psychology plays a crucial role in our lives. Please leave a like, follow, as it will help grow this podcast. And that being said, for today's topic, I want to dive deeper into the psychology of stress and understanding the cognitive, behavioral, and emotional responses to stress. So stress is a common behavior that can happen at any time in our lives. Come to think of it, stress is waiting to barge in at the right moment. So there are many things we often stress about, whether it be from work, deadlines, financial problems, or even relationship conflicts. When something starts to irritate or bother us, that's when stress takes over our mind. You see, stress is a response that can affect our mental and physical health. A lot of mental, physical effects can be caused by stress because we aren't taking care of ourselves well enough. Sometimes we don't fully understand what makes us feel stressed or how we can recognize these stressors to occur. So, that being said, here's some of the key psychological factors I want to share with you when it comes to the topic of stress. The first factor I want to talk about is burnout. So burnout causes stress due to emotional exhaustion. This is associated with high stress occupations. When we are overloading and pushing ourselves to the limit, this is where burnout takes over our health. Sometimes it's not about pushing ourselves, but also finding time to rest. And furthermore, burnout is a serious behavioral factor that must be recognized in order to prevent ourselves from being stressed in the long term. The next factor is emotional impact. So when it comes to emotional impact, stress can be caused through different aspects of our life. So emotional disturbances like anxiety, depression, and mood swings are what take over our minds through stress. The more we allow stress into our mind, the less we'll gain toward our mental health. Our minds have a variety of emotions to keep up with on a day-to-day basis. There are things we deal with already, whether it be at work, school, family, finances, everything has an impact on stress. And, that being said, it's important to understand the emotional impact stress can cause while also consistently taking care of ourselves. The next factor I want to talk about is the ability of having coping mechanisms. Coping mechanisms are strategies that help us manage stress. It's important to utilize the strategies of, problem solving, finding time to relax, or even seeking support. Techniques include exercise, meditation, and activities that can help us reduce stress while improving our own personal well-being. The more we utilize coping mechanisms, the more we are able to adapt in daily stressors. Which brings me to my next point of cognitive effects. So stress can hurt cognitive functions like attention, memory, and decision making. This will affect our long-term mental health, making it more difficult to adapt and overcome these different types of stressors. So in order to keep our mental health stable and healthy, we must find these coping mechanisms in order to avoid these negative cognitive effects. Our mind is the most powerful tool in the body, and which is why it's super important to avoid stress the best we can. Now, I want to talk about two differences of stress. There's eustress and distress. So eustress and distress are two different categories of stress we must keep in mind. Eustress is a positive stress that can help motivate and improve our performances, whereas distress is a negative stress that can make us feel overwhelmed, negative, and burnt out. Think of eustress as a way to seek learning opportunities and growth. When dealing with stressful situations, it's about finding ways to bounce back and do better. This is very similar toward finding optimism, especially positivity when it comes to stressful situations that may occur. As opposed to distress, it is the complete opposite. This category of stress motivates our stressors to bring us down even more. it will cause more anxiety, most likely often more worry, and maybe even one body pain, or with the different stressors that occur. The more we understand these two different categories, the more we can understand how our mind works within these stressors. So overall, the psychology of stress is very essential in managing our stressors and understanding the positive and negative effects being caused. So we must understand the behavior of stress that can also help us develop over time and benefiting our mental and physical health. So the more prepared we are within life's stressors, the more we will overcome and adapt to it. So we must keep the psychological factors of stress in mind. That way, stress becomes well managed throughout our lifetime. Preparedness is key, and for those of you that listen to my previous podcast, I talk about preparation a lot and how we must be prepared for what the world offers, because sometimes the world could be a dangerous yet a good place. You don't know, so anything could happen at any given moment. This is why I love talking about self-improvement, personal development, and the psychology of life. So that is all I have for you guys today. I thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoyed this quick podcast, and for more psychology content or self-improvement content, please stay tuned. Make sure to leave a like, follow, and or subscribe. It will really help my channel, and I really look forward to sharing my knowledge and mentorship with all of you. That being said, I also look forward to growing with all of you in this podcast. I'll see you all in the next episode, and as always, I wish you all a blessed day.